Petr Svoboda, thank you very much for your time. When you look down on the ice, what kind of team do you see at present?
We're not sure yet, unfortunately. Before the season, we figured we had a team that will play offensive style hockey with composure, but we are really inconsistent this year. But we're working on it, and that's the beautiful about sports. You never stop working on things. We're not there yet. So when the team struggles, we were not consistent this year. We have one good game, one game that we're not very happy with. But when you look at our roster on the paper, most of the guys are underperforming. So we look at during these 2 weeks, we had a lot of times to really analyze and go internally into individual players' aspects, and I think that we did a lot of good work, but when we came out of the break, it didn't go well for us.
But the fact is that there are so many changes of players coming in and getting out. That's the basis for consistency, to have a stock of people working together, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, but at the same time, when we purchased the team and we come in here a year and a half ago, we were also in a situation where we had the core players were getting over the hill a little bit, as I would say, So unfortunately, there were changes. We have a plan here for the next 5 years. So basically, we try to recruit players and have players here with stabilities. And if you look at the contractuals, we're committing to players for 4 to 5 years, and they at age between 23 to 28. So it takes time. I'm not saying that we were doing some kind of rebuilding, but we were bringing new players that they can basically have time together to grow as a team. So the pain period is usually in the beginning.
Maybe you can give us a little insight into the secret of the next 5 years you just mentioned. What is the plan, and who is the core for this plan?
Well, when you look at our team, we have Damien Riad, we have Fricke, we have Heldner, we have Glauser, we have Ugly, which we signed for the following year. So that's the core of the players. I don't want to forget anybody. We have Mayart, we have Marty, So we have the Swiss, obviously the Swiss players are really going to be stable, and they know they're going to be here for, let's say, 4 or 5 years. And then we want to make sure that we also do a great job with the imports. So I truly believe that if you find 5 guys who understand the philosophy and everything else, it takes time before them to understand that. But then you're going to be better off for a long run in the playoffs and everything else, instead of try to reach out in the last minute for someone who really not been in the club and everything else. It's more expensive for the club a little bit, but at the same time, I think eventually once you have the 5 the 5 guys who are right with the situation, it's going to be benefit to our club instead of being a weakness. That's what I feel.
You just mentioned the expenses. What is your budget? What do you have to spend on? Because that's something other clubs are very critical about. What do you say to that?
Those are just full-blown rumors. When we took over this team, our budget was a hell of a lot higher than it is now. So we also economically looking after the club. During the COVID era, it's not easy for any clubs. Whatever the media or people who try to create, gossips and everything else, they know only the half truth. So we do not overpay. We understand the market. We want to make sure that we have players here who like to be in Lausanne. And when someone says that we're overspending money, that's not the case. We know our budget, we know our payroll, and we also know the other aspect of the league, who spends what, at least to certain points. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's an issue here.
One thing that is actually not very expensive, that's bringing up young people from your own organization. Mm-hmm. And Lausanne has actually a good organization for the young players. How much does this hurt you that the young players sometimes leave the club?
We've been here only for 2 years, and I can assure you that our biggest program now is to make sure we have a great academy. We invested, even during COVID times, the most into our academy. Baragamo and they left. We offered them contracts. I was here only for a short period of time, so we offered them contract, but they felt that they will not break our lineup. You know what I mean? Which was not the case. It might be from a historical prior that the young players did not get opportunity here. But I think it just happens in every club. You know, like most of the clubs, most of the players we have so far here, it's coming from somewhere else. So it's about a fit. We brought a lot of players back, Marty, Mayart, and all the local kids, you know what I mean, who are capable of playing the game. And if someone will criticize our club by not trying to create something internal, then he doesn't know our club. Because the biggest investment, even during these tough times, we made in our youth.
One thing I have to ask you, the stuff with Barberio at the moment, all the fuss that's made about it now, what is your opinion about that?
No, the fuss is for a reason. The way Mark behaved last year in the playoffs and this year, you know, it's unfortunately hockey is a hard play game. There's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of things, but we do not support it here. And when we're going to have really state the facts, the celebration of Zurich, when they're accusing us that we basically, from their coaching staff, or what we read in the paper, we are like barbarians here. It's absolutely the opposite. When it started basically with Dennis Malgin, who's playing for them, getting injured in the first game, and next thing we knew that they were posting like almost a celebrational thing on their website. And believe me, we did not encourage our players to say, go and hurt somebody. I played for many years and I will never encourage that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's where it starts. And then it's up to the referees to make sure that they maintain the aspect of the game. Did it get out of their hand last year in the playoffs? Absolutely. Were both parties at fault? 100%. We need to be, as Zurich, as us, we need to really talk to our players to play the game and with a fair play. But one thing is unacceptable for me, you know what I mean, is that when the coach, who's coaching players, he crossed the line to mention our players. You know, I understand coach gets frustrated when one of his top players get injured. We would probably feel the same way. I understand this in the heat of the moment. He can challenge our bench and everything else. I get that. But to go and criticize our organization that he doesn't know nothing about, criticizing our players of being fat and not be able to skate, that's crossing the line. So I would believe that anybody who's involved with hockey will understand that. So there's no holding grudge. Next time we play Zurich, I hope there's a great hockey. It's a rivalry. And let's play fair play. You know what I mean? Play the game the right way. So, you know, when we say fair play, we are all on fair play. You know, we can sit down with anybody. The league should control it, but we cannot go and just freely say about other organizations when you don't really know the details that they're doing terrible jobs, that they don't care about their players. You know, we came down here and we are very excited about this venture. But how do you think we feel when we get criticized for occasion that happened with one of our players? We do not support that. We've been in hockey for many years, and I can promise you that I will never, ever, or anybody in our hierarchies would say, let's go hurt them. That's primitive. So, accusation and media aspect, we need to probably most likely sit down together. I'm willing to sit down with anybody from Zurich or from the league and everything else, and let's talk it out, because it's probably not good for the game. For sure it's not. And do I want to see some other players getting injured? No. And we will be the first one to make sure that we control our players. We're going to have an internal disciplinary for Barberio, for Mark. But at the same time, we will not be accused of things prematurely. we need to stand up for ourselves as well. Do you understand that, right?
Yes.
Because we try to do things right here. We get criticized every day. It does not insult me being criticized and being told things. If you deserve it, that's fine. But when you cross the line and you have a basically free minute in your mind, we didn't lose our cool. I think their coach lose their cool. You don't act like that. You know what I mean? And I understand. I've been, as I said, and I repeated in hockey in a situation for many times what happens, and I totally agree with his maybe behavior during the game that he's upset. Yeah, absolutely. But then half hour after the game, no. Because he doesn't know us, you know what I mean? And just don't say those things.